looking at the gold futures here, we can see on the weekly time frame as we blow this thing up, we've been hitting weekly resistance, or excuse me, I should say supply over here at 1354 up to 1415. Okay, and we've been knocking on that door for the past few weeks. And you can see the nice little trend line that I have drawn here on the daily time frame as we've just been failing to break higher here. The trend is still overall very much to the upside. It's just we've been hitting a lot of resistance, okay, or a lot of supply. Now, the important level that I really want to talk about here is 1305. What does that level represent? Okay, this level down here represents something new in the market happening. If we go below this point, my mind is that we've beaten the weekly uh, demand level that we have from 1305 up to 1325. Okay, and as we beat that level, new things are going to happen as we push down below that. All right, but we haven't done that yet. We've actually formed a new weekly weekly demand level from 1305 up to 1325, and it looks like we're getting a little bit of a retest here. So we're deciding whether or not that level is going to be really be respected. But until then, we're kind of in a wedge, if you will. Okay. So moving over here to the daily levels, let's look at the most current daily levels as we see this wedge pattern coming on here very strong and heavy. Okay, you can see how I drew the trend line down here. And again, 1305 up to 1323 is the daily level that coincides with that weekly level. Again, highlighting the 1305 level there. All right. Now, looking at the Elite software, we are up and still trending technically, or wedging is what I would call it, but we're still up on the year, we're up on the everything, you know. So we just want to be aware of the wedge happening here and what's likely to happen from there, okay? So we really need to see price respect this zone once again and then push to the upside for the uptrend to continue. If the 1305 level gets broken, then we're looking at this thing coasting on back down to previous levels of demand down here. Okay, but as far as this up and coming week, which is really what we're focusing on, you can see that we've had a good refresh, excuse me, a good retest of a fresh level here on the 4-hour time frame. Okay, and this is the most recent 4-hour time frame. We're doing a nice little splash into this level. Are we going to stick here or continue to drop? Because it's fresh, because it's new, I think we're going to see a retest of the highs over this coming week. Okay, and I'm looking for price to push up against resistance and break into new highs. Now, the important level again to watch down there is that 1305. So those are the wedge play and how I see it coming to form right now. These two levels are important. Let's actually just show the all the levels here. So 1313 down to 1305 is that 4-hour long-term zone that we've seen all that respect come from. All right, and up there at the top, basically from 1345 up to 1354, we have brand new resistance stair stacking on top of each other. Okay, again, and that level coincides with the big weekly time frame over here that we see at 1354. So uh, we are in a wedge right now, and we're looking for the breakout of the wedge, but we're hoping for the breakout of the wedge in the direction of the upwards trend. Moving over to the S&P futures, let's go ahead and take a look at the big weekly charts. And as you can see, here are our big weekly levels, and the S&P did a beautiful job, as well as the Dow market, of just bouncing right off of this weekly zone here that we have at 2100. Okay, and it's bounced to the upside, and this past week we've actually seen a retest of this resistance, which it looks like it's failing to break that resistance. Okay, so we may be again in store for another range bound play long term, but we're not looking at the long term as much as we are as what's going to happen this week. What is this week going to produce for us? The trend is obviously up on this market. Don't kid yourself, even though we saw a big red bar here, trend is still intact and still to the upside. All right. So on the daily time frame, what do we see here? Well, we see the most current levels being this blue zone right here that we retested uh, last week. Okay, and we started to recoil from that just a little bit. All right, and we're bouncing to the downside. So personally speaking, I'm thinking more of a range play. All right, I'm thinking that we're going to be retesting the 2120 level down to the 2100. Okay, that's going to be our support area. And I'm just looking for price to bounce back and forth in between these two zones until we come to a resolution. So I'm thinking we're kind of going to be inside of this range and possibly for momentum to be picking up as we are bouncing inside of this range for the remainder of the week. Okay, so I'll be looking for another push to the downside here. And then once we're there, we need to look at what price action is telling us at that point. But for right now, I'm looking, even though the trend is up, I'm looking for the continuation to the downside here. Okay, so we will see if that continues to happen or not. On the 4 hour time frame, here are the levels that we are responding to right now. We have one level at 2131 up to 2144, as well as we've formed a little bit of resistance in here too. So let's just go ahead and show all the levels on here. You can kind of see how we're getting all choppy and range bound. We've identified the daily level up here, so you can see the two zones inside of that level. And we're just getting consolidated right around in this area. We're retesting this previous area of consolidation. So again, I'm going to be looking for us to still be bouncing around in here. All right, especially looking at the 2156 to 2163. Maybe we'll get a little bounce off of that thing, and then again retesting down low. All right, so this is the type of thing that I would be looking to have happen. But again, I'm thinking that we could start moving into somewhat of a range. I really want to see us retest support this week, so that's what I'll be looking for, and we'll see where it goes from there.